There is no mistaking a demon from a human. There just isn't. They only come out at night, and they only come to play every so often. Now, what if you did confuse that? What if this type of person was different? What if they weren't a demon, but at the same time they were no longer a human? Someone that may or may not even be stronger than the source of a demon, but can camouflage just like one. It seems that demons are one thing. Some, in terms of the upper ranks, can be seen as more human-like. Others can be seen as gross and grotesque. But what if there was someone that was very similar to a demon, but at the same time different? What if there was a vampire? A vampire became a demon slayer. A vampire lived amongst humans. That is where we're going to be talking about Tanjiro Kamado, a young boy that was so nice to everybody, a young boy that had no ego, that had no mindset to even touch another human, hurt them by any means. Tanjiro, all he did was help, but all it took was one stumble across this odd looking mask when he was younger. One stumble is all it took. When he went down to sell coal for the villages below, he began to walk around selling everybody that said coal, that said charcoal. But just as he finished up and began to head home, instead of being stopped that night by the old man there, he would stumble to the ground and trip over a stone mask. A mask that he would pick up, curiously enough, and he decided to look through that said mask and even decided to put it on. Yo, what is good, everybody? It's your boy Golden Falls, Golden What If, whatever you want to call me. And I'm back with another Tanjiro What If. I know it's crazy. Back to back Tanjiro stuff, you know? I know, it's not technically back to back, but it's been a while. And I always do this. I always kind of abandon Tanjiro stuff. I'm trying my best not to. I want to keep doing Tanjiro stuff. It's fun. I really like Tanjiro. So, we're going to be doing a Demon Slayer What If. And that is Tanjiro gets turned into a vampire. And if you guys know who Dio is, it's going to be based around that. I personally had to do a decent amount of research on this character because I've only seen about 2 episodes of JoJo. So I'm not going to lie. But I'll definitely get on just watching it entirely. But I know more or less everything I need to know. And obviously we have Tanjiro's personality mixed in. Nonetheless, I hope y'all enjoy. And I'm not going to waste much more of your time. And let's just get right on with the what if. Let's get it. Tanjiro is sitting there and decides to put the mask on. He dons the stone mask. And he could feel like 1,000 needles, 1,000 knives out of nowhere cut into his brain, cut into his face. But then out of nowhere, everything feels numb. Nothing hurts anymore. Tanjiro drops the mask and begins to pass out, stumbling to the ground and waking up the next morning. He doesn't feel cold. His body doesn't hurt from what should have been aching because of all the snow. No, he feels okay. But not only this, he feels this overwhelming sense of power. This overwhelming sense of immortality in a way. He feels as if he's so much greater than he was when he was sleeping, when he was out cold. His personality flipped on his head. The feeling of this immortality, this untouchableness, made Tanjiro feel far, far more different. But that untouchable type personality will definitely take a hit when he walks up and walks to his home to see his entire family slaughtered and cut down to pieces. He stares at everything, the blood, and his body begins to just twitch about the blood everywhere. It seems that his body is having a reaction to the blood as well, as if he's urged on to the blood, but he's able to resist this urge with relative ease. It seems as if he doesn't necessarily need it, at least not need it at this moment. He walks over, looking at his entire family, How is everyone dead? What's going on? Tanjiro wants nothing but to just help his family, somehow bring them back. But that thought goes away in an instant when he sees his little sister twitch slightly, as if she is still alive. He picks her up and begins sprinting as fast as possible, but he senses something within her, senses something else. Immediately, she forces them off the mountain, and they begin plummeting to the ground below. But Tanjiro is able to bounce off a tree and catch both of them at the same time, as if he was sensing so many things while he was just falling through the sky. In an instant, he would believe that his legs would be broken. On impact, they should have snapped. But he looks, and nothing is broken. He's fine. Everything is fine. He begins to just take his sister and begins to run while she tries to bite into him, but his enhanced strength is allowing him to just keep her at bay, not allowing her to do much at all. He continues to run more and more, trying to figure out a way to get out of the situation they're in, until a blade comes slicing to him, but Tanjiro is able to react to this, ducking under the blade and kicking the man in the back. This man is Giyu Tomioka. Giyu Tomioka is a demon slayer, and at that a Hashira, a top level demon slayer. He's impressed by Tanjiro, what he just did. He looks at Tanjiro and begins to question his physique, the way he moves, the way he's acting. His sister by far is a demon, but him, he seems slightly different. What is he exactly? Even Tomioka is not so sure. But nonetheless, Tomioka tells him that his sister is a demon and she must die. Tanjiro shakes his head, saying that he will not allow her to die, that he will protect her with his life. Tomioka basically puts him up to that test, but quickly, Tanjiro reveals that he is far stronger than Tomioka would ever have guessed. But the only problem is, out of rage and out of a sense of need and sense of want, well, Tanjiro shows off some of his brand new powers as a vampire, showing that he has the power that can shoot these eye type of beams out of his eyes, obviously, as if they were some pressurized fluid jets, and immediately striking toward Tomioka, actually injuring him slightly. Tomioka was able to get out of the way, but it did slightly hurt him. This immediately clicks in Tomioka's head, thinking that Tanjiro must be some sort of demon as well. But Tanjiro says that he is no demon, it is just his sister, that his sister is a demon, but he wants to save her. Tomioka, not listening by any means, Tanjiro has to put it into his own hands to somehow get them out of there. So he decides that he's going to put anything and everything that he ever could do into action. He wants to figure out a way to escape. Beating this guy is not the way of doing that. There is no beating Tomioka. So he decides that he's going to try and just close the distance and get Nezuko to leave. He tells Nezuko this and hopes that his sister would somehow listen, even beyond the temptations of a demon, in which she ends up not leaving, and they stand their ground against one of the toughest and strongest Hashira out of all of them. Tomioka begins fighting against them, and let's just say, they really don't stand much of a chance. Tanjiro is still getting used to his powers, and Tomioka is frankly just overwhelming them. Nezuko is extremely strong, but out of pure luck, and the fact that there is a ton of ice around them already and ton of snow, Tanjiro lands one finger on Tomioka and it begins stabilizing and freezing Tomioka using some weird ice power that he never knew would even be possible, freezing parts of the person's body. Tanjiro is able to freeze part of Tomioka, making him completely still. He tries to break free but can't. Immediately, Tanjiro grabs Nezuko and dashes off at insane speeds, faster than he's ever run before, eventually arriving at a cave where they kind of burrow away for a second to hide. He asks Nezuko if she's okay, and she actually doesn't strike at him again. He looks at her, and it seems as if she is in more of a better frame of mind. But he immediately pats her on the head, and it's as if he's able to use some sort of hypnosis to allow Nezuko to truly know who Tanjiro is, even in a state of unhuman-like measures. After a long time has passed, Tanjiro finally decides to basically head out. The sun is still bright though, that's the problem, and he sticks his one hand out to basically try something. He does just that, and he can feel this sensation of complete pain on his hand, pulling his hand back out to basically confirm to himself that he has a massive weakness to the sun. There's a reason why he's been regenerating at such insane rates, and that's why, because of these weaknesses that are going to present itself. He thinks this is fine. He's basically like Nezuko. He has to only go out during the night. At least that's what it seems to be. So he decides to wait until nighttime comes and leaves with Nezuko just as it does. They begin to head out, looking for a place to go. Maybe a new town, a town to basically hide in, at least for the meantime. When they arrive to a brand new town to see a couple, to a man and a female, walking down the road. They begin to approach the man and female, at least Tanjiro does, telling Nezuko to stay calm and not attack them for their blood. That it doesn't seem that they're in too need of that, at least at this moment. Tanjiro doesn't feel the need to actually have blood. Nezuko may, but just as blood would be drawn, maybe Nezuko would jump into action for that said blood. Nonetheless, they begin to approach the couple, and they wave toward them and ask if basically they have any place that they could stay, that this is his little sister, and that they need a place to stay as soon as possible. And, well, they say that there is some places that they might be able to find a place for them, but just as they're saying this, a portal opens beneath the woman and takes her away. But just before that could happen, Tanjiro grabs her, pulls her away, and tumbles down the road, telling her to stay put and stay behind him right now, or else. Tanjiro can feel a demon's presence, and even the demon then approaches Tanjiro out of nowhere, just poofing out of his little portal. "Hey, what are you doing? Aren't you a demon too? The little girl over there is as well. What do you think you're doing? This is my prey." Immediately, Tanjiro attacks the demon, slamming him into the wall, and begins to completely obliterate him to a pulp. The demon, of course, has proper regeneration and not able to be killed just as easily. But just as Tanjiro is beating on this demon, he tries to cut its head off. And when he does just that, it seems as if the demon doesn't die, being able to reattach his head relatively easily. So Tanjiro decides to freeze the demon instead, doing just that and leaving him there. He doesn't know what to do with him. Obviously, he could leave him out here until the sun rises. That would probably be the best idea he has. So that's probably what he'll do. He tells the couple not to worry, that they'll be just fine if they just, make sure to stick with him and not say a word about what just occurred. Because if they say a word about his sister being a demon and that him having the powers he has, he'll be coming for them next. And obviously Tanjiro, the one before putting on the stone mask, maybe would have never said this, but his overprotective side and his ego side is definitely showing. It's a combination of both by all means necessary. And frankly, he needs it to be this way. He needs to have that side where he knows he can win almost every fight, but he also needs to have the side where he's protective over his sister. That is the only way they're going to survive. So Tanjiro decides that he'll take whatever he can. He leaves the demon there to die to the sun, and he actually begins to look for a place around this area that has nobody around. Isolated, maybe in between trees, where they could walk outside where the trees will block the sunlight, and that's exactly what they eventually find. He brings a bunch of supplies. We're talking piles and piles of supplies from the village, and making sure that nobody sees him do such a thing. And if they do, well, he'll just feed them to Nezuko. Frankly, that's the way he feels at this moment. If they want to be strong, and they need to be strong, he'll need to consume blood. Same thing with Nezuko. So that's exactly what they're going to have to do. Over the next about 1.5 to 2 years, Tanjiro and her kind of try to lay low, living in a place that they make it look abandoned in a way. And it basically looks to the point where it seems like nobody would even be there. Over this time, Nezuko has developed more and more human-like, basically, features in terms of speaking and proper language, stuff like that. So she's not just, all the time, and basically can talk in formal sentences pretty easily now. Yes, they are eating humans, and based on the code of a demon slayer, which they are not, it would be extremely difficult and extremely bad. But nonetheless, he doesn't care. Tanjiro will eventually be hunted down by these said demon slayers, but there is one problem he sees. The demons are still a problem. At the end of the day, yeah, they may be quote-unquote demons. Tanjiro isn't. He's a vampire, something far different, but Nezuko is. So you would think that these demons wouldn't be a difficult problem at all. Maybe they wouldn't attack them, but they can't guarantee that. Maybe the demons see them as a threat and attack them. So they'll somehow need to find a way to kill these demons more or less at a proper rate. During this time, Tanjiro though has learned more and more about his powers, about some zombie/vampire creation types of his powers, but he's more concerned with the whole zombie aspect. Every time they kill someone, eat their blood or drink their blood, blah blah blah, he basically will turn them into zombies so that they can go out at night and get supplies for them. Tanjiro will also take runs at night, but of course he would not let his sister do such a thing. Eventually she would verbally dispute this, and Tanjiro says that they won't be here that much longer. After a year and a half has passed, Tanjiro wants to be able to go out and basically re-establish themselves in a new area, and that's exactly what they'll end up doing. But they do want one thing. It seems after all of the basically learning and thinking about this whole demon slayer thing and also the demons, he learns that there's a special sword that allows him to slice a demon's head off, and then they'll die just like that. So Tanjiro and Nezuko decide to leave. They begin to head to a city that he's heard about, a city that frankly is out and about at night a lot. Maybe he can get situated there, get a place where basically is kind of unknown or hidden from the outside world, or at least just a place nearby. And if they ever need to get supplies, they can just go into that city, or have various other human-like creatures go into that city. So Tanjiro heads over there looking around, and this is where he'd come face to face with somebody that sensed him just as Tanjiro sensed them. So when he arrives, he tells Nezuko to go scout out a place over there in a direction the opposite of where they were going. Nezuko listens. Obviously she trusts her brother, but just as she leaves, Tanjiro begins to walk to a nearby alley, knowing that the man that he seeks out is waiting for him there. Tanjiro walks into the alleyway, and the man is standing there. "What are you? You look familiar, but what are you exactly?" "You're not a demon." "I know, because I didn't make you, and everyone else is connected. So who are you?" Tanjiro doesn't really say a word and just stares at the man. "Well, you're right, I am no demon. You know that for a fact. But I have no interest in speaking with you. I don't care who you are, what you want. I have zero interest in you. Especially with the body you have. Seems like you're slowly dying. Well, I guess I'll be seeing you. At least that's what I assume." Tanjiro goes to walk away, but the man by the name of Muzan tells him to stop, that he has an offer to Tanjiro. Whatever he is, he can be even stronger if he decides to join Muzan and become a demon. Tanjiro shakes his head. "Why would I become something inferior? I can be something so much better, greater. That's what I am now. Frankly, you should just become my puppet." Tanjiro turns and stares at Muzan, beginning to inflict various mental damages to his mind. Muzan is forced to retreat as soon as possible, and even Tanjiro kinda had a feeling that wouldn't have worked, at least not fully. The man leaves, knowing that he should not mess with a creature that he does not understand, at least not at this moment. Tanjiro doesn't really care. He begins to head off and begins to seek out where Nezuko went. finding her, and eventually they begin to set up a new camp near a city that wouldn't really suspect them just walking around. But just as they're setting everything up, a young man actually approaches them. But it's not just a young man, it's a demon by the name of Yushiro. What do you want? By all means, I don't have a proper way of killing you, but I have experimental ways of trying to control you, and maybe that would take you into insanity or kill you. Which one would you like? Yushiro immediately says that he's not there to fight, not by any means. He wants to talk, and that Lady Tamayo wants to speak with him as well. Tanjiro reluctantly agrees, taking Nezuko with him, making sure that she will be okay, and he tells Yushiro that if they try to do anything stupid, he'll pin them up outside and wait for the sun to destroy them. He doesn't care. Immediately leaving with them and meeting the woman by the name of Lady Tamayo. Someone so peaceful, so relaxed, so calming. It seems like she's some motherly figure in a way. Lady Tamayo reminds him of his mother, someone that is so genuinely nice. Maybe this is an act, maybe it's not, but it reminds him of seeing his family gone, seeing his family dead on the ground, not being able to do anything about it. But even if he wanted, even if he so chose to make them into zombies, into creatures that were of the undead, would that even make him feel better? Honestly, he didn't want to see his family just live on, quote unquote, through deceased bodies. He wants them to live on freely, on their own, relax, and relax in the afterlife. And that's exactly what he did. He allowed them that. He gifted them that. He could have turned his powers, took them over, and made them zombies, but he doesn't know what that does to people. That might enter them into limbo. And frankly, his family, he would never want to put them through that. But Lady Tamayo is the closest thing to make him feel warmth of a loving family. Warmth of a mother that seemed to care so much. And she begins to question Tanjiro. Begins to question what exactly is he? And he feels the need to explain that he's a vampire. That one day, he's not so sure how it happened, but he put on this stone mask that made him into this thing. But it worked out. He believes that everything happens for a reason, and this occurred for a reason as well. That he would not have been able to protect his sister if that wasn't the case. And yes, he has weaknesses. Yes, he cannot go out in the sun, but still, he can still protect his sister with all his power, and everybody else will bow down to his knee if they try to hurt her. Lady Tamayo is interested in Tanjiro. Doesn't like the idea of killing people. Doesn't like the idea of taking the blood of people that were unwilling. They're innocent. But at the end of the day, Tanjiro says that there is no choice in this. And she says there is, but at the same time, Tanjiro knows that the life they've been living is far different than the one that Lady Tamayo has been. He explains that he is just protecting his sister. And if that means killing, feeding each other the food of these dead humans, and then making them into zombies, and basically using them for their own good, that's what he'll do. At the end of the day, Tanjiro was a child. 13, 14, 15. He was young. His sister is even younger. That's what he's been dealing with. He didn't go through life normally. He was raised by good parents. But nonetheless, he knew what his parents would want. For him to protect his sister. And that's what he's going to do, no matter what. Lady Tamayo is fine with this. She thinks it's okay. But she does bring up the idea of this whole zombification thing, asking various questions about it. And, well, Tanjiro is kind of curious anyways. I'm curious if you could become a vampire. Not sure how that would even work. I know I can turn people into vampires, but normally that would be dealing with, humans. But you're technically a demon. But Tanjiro questions if he can try something. He won't try something that would ultimately have a chance of killing her or hurting her extremely bad, but he wants to try some of her blood, in which she's confused. Why would you want to do that? That would technically put you in a space where you can become a demon, no? Yes, connected to that Muzan guy. Sure. But my sister doesn't seem connected. He has no control over her. That is where I know I'll be alright. So even if this does nothing, or even if this puts me through extensive pain, I'll be alright. There's no reason for you to worry. Lady Tamayo still is not sure about it, but decides to let him. So Tanjiro begins to suck a slight bit of blood out of Lady Tamayo's neck, and Yoshiro obviously is very uncomfortable by this situation. Tanjiro does just that, and can feel power surge within him, but there is no connection to Muzan. It's as if his bloodline itself is separating himself from the Demon King. It seems as if he is something different. Lady Tamayo covers her neck and basically gets it to regenerate after a little bit, but she even feels slightly different. Tanjiro basically begins to say that he figured out a way to make her a part vampire as well. I know you want revenge on Muzan. You want him dead. I do too. Theoretically, demons could go out during the day, but it's all theory. Conquering the sunlight is something that not many people know of, right? As a vampire, I don't even think it's possible. But still, adding a weakness on top of a weakness wouldn't matter much, especially with the added effects that I've already gained from entering this quote-unquote demonhood. A demon and a vampire. That is something, huh? Nonetheless, how do you feel? She explains that she feels great, that she feels a surge of this power as if she's so much stronger. And she says that she will help him however that he sees fit, and he begins to say that they need to kill Muzan. He's not so sure if he personally can, at least permanently, and especially without being able to slice his head off, and with a Nichiren blade. But she confirms that Muzan most likely has no weakness to getting his head cut off. Oh, no weakness, huh? That's interesting. But I assume his other demons do, correct? She says yes, of course, but what does he have in mind? Is there a cure for the whole demon thing? Could you make a cure? She says that's definitely something she could probably do. It would be difficult though. They need blood of basically a ton of the higher ranked demons. You don't need to worry about that. Let me worry about that. I have something in mind that I want to get done. You two, stay safe. If you need me, I should be able to sense you and sense your presence. We are kind of linked now. Nonetheless, I'll be heading off. But, don't do anything too drastic. Do you have any way for me to send you the blood in vials? Lady Tamayo says yes, that there's a cat. So there's this demon cat that she uses to do just that. So she gives him a couple vials, and basically that is now Tanjiro's goal. To get the blood of the upper demons, lower demons, whatever you can think of, in general, the 12 kizuki. So that is going to be his goal from here on out. He asks Nezuko if she thinks she is ready to do such a thing, and she nods. She gives her hand to Tanjiro as he slightly bites it so that she can become a vampire as well. He wanted to make sure that she wouldn't die during this process. It is kind of messed up using someone else as your kind of puppet to make sure that your sister would be okay. But let's be honest, Tanjiro would have no intention of trying this on his sister as an experiment, at least not at first. He would experiment on Lady Tamayo first, knowing pretty well that she'd be okay, or at least if she wasn't, she'd probably be able to regenerate back, maybe. But nonetheless, it worked out just fine. Him and Nezuko begin to lay low for just a couple more days until night begins to strike again, and they want to go hunt down a demon. No, one of the 12 kizuki. So Nezuko and Tanjiro begin to hunt for that said demon, or at least one of them. They just need one for now, and progressively they'll get more and more. But for now, they need one, at least to start off with. Eventually, they would come across a forest a forest that they can even sense is filled with demons. But not only that, there's a ton of demon slayers. It seems like these slayers are currently within this forest being tortured, hurt, in trouble. Not so sure. Frankly, he doesn't care. He enters this forest and begins to walk through to see demon slayers strung up on trees. Tanjiro jumps up and grabs one of their swords. Nezuko asks if he's going to use that sword. No. This demon power is something simple, interesting. It has something that even you should have, Nezuko. It seems that there are blood demon arts that I can control. But one that I'm very interested in and I feel like I might be able to adapt is something like this. He then draws blood on the Nichirin blade, sliding it across the entirety of the sword. He touches his fingernails on the sword itself, and the nails that he has on his hands begin to change into this metallic-like color, as if he just adapted his fingernails, sharp fingernails by all means, into that Nichirin blade. He might be weak to this quote-unquote blade, but he feels that his powers should keep him away from dying in terms of being his head getting sliced off, in terms of his vampire powers, at least theoretically. He's not so sure. He's not going to test this theory. He doesn't want to suicide by testing a theory that's not going to work, but using a blood demon art of some sorts, at least with a combination of his vampiric powers, he's able to use these fingernails, or these very sharp fingernails, as Nichirin blades in a way, or as Nichirin metal, adapting his fingers to them. He begins to hunt down through the forest, sensing various other demon slayers currently within it, fighting various demons. Tanjiro, though, approaches one that he can tell is the strongest, and he currently is disrespecting his little sister. Yeah, if you want to do something useful, go. Be useful to our family, or else. Rui then quickly realizes who is next to him, who is staring at him. He looks to his left to see a younger sister, but then also Tanjiro. But this man, he looks similar to something that he's seen before. Similar to what? What is it? He's not sure. He's not. But he's heard rumors of this boy, this man, this person. You know, treating your sister like that is definitely not right. You understand that, right? Rui responds, "Who the hell do you think you are? I'll treat my family how I want to treat them, and these demon slayers, you are intruding on our family time." Oh, your family time. Interesting. Very interesting. Immediately, Tanjiro, his eyes begin to twitch and slightly change as he saws off Rui's legs and his arms. Your family time doesn't seem too impressive in my opinion. Your family time seems like you're just, getting mad at them, yelling at them, treating them like garbage. I could never do something like that. Now, how would you like to die? Quickly? Slowly? Should I pin you up to the tree until the sun comes out? What do you think? Rui begins to hear this voice and begins to get extremely intimidated. He feels this power behind his voice, this power behind every word Tanjiro speaks. Immediately, Tanjiro reveals his nails, and even the nails itself resembles a Nichirin sword. You're a demon slayer. How is that even possible? You're like us. Demon slayer? No, I'm no demon slayer. That's a promise. This little corp, a demon slayer corp, I have a problem with them as well. But the only difference is I need you to die. And once you do, I can take your blood. That's all that matters to me. Unless you'd like to fork it over now. As he shows a vial. Rui destroys the vial in his hand. Oh, you really should not have done that. Tanjiro appears in front of him as obviously Rui has regenerated all his limbs. Tanjiro knows he can do this. I mean, he's a pretty strong demon, but at the end of the day, Tanjiro grabs his face, pile driving him into the ground, and begins to slice at his chest, and it begins to slice through like butter. His Nichirin-like nails, sharp nails, begin to slice through Rui, tearing through the demon's skin over and over again. Tanjiro laughs in his face as he begins to slice off his head by gripping onto his neck with such great force that his fingerprints begin to seep through the neck of Rui, including his nails, slicing through various points of his neck and defeating Rui in one foul swoop. He takes out another vial, stabbing Rui in the side, taking his blood. His sister, already gone, most likely going to be killed by various demon slayers within the forest. Alright, well, I think it's time to go. Just as Tanjiro regards this, says this to Nezuko, both his neck and her neck get sliced off simultaneously by both Tomioka and another demon slayer by the name of Kanao. Both of their heads roll and begin to roll to each other's bodies as they stare at each other deep into each other's eyes in complete shock. Tomioka, Giyu Tomioka, the one that allowed them to get away in the first place, and Kanao, another one of the stronger demon slayers that was trained by a Hashira, has now defeated both Tanjiro and Nezuko? Did they really? Did they finish the job? Is this over? Is it going to be the end of Vampire Tanjiro? Is it going to be the end of him and his sister? Will they ever get revenge for their family? Will they ever finally and truly get their revenge on someone that was so one-sided, so one mindset like Tomioka, willing to kill them even at their weakest state? Well, you're just gonna have to find out in the final installment of Tanjiro Gets Turned into a Vampire. Yo, what is good, everybody? It's your boy Golden Falls, Golden What If, whatever you want to call me. And this normally isn't the intro I kind of do. Normally I start with story and stuff like that. There's a reason for that. I just wanted to quickly say that I am extremely sick. I believe I have COVID. That's why the uploads have been kind of messed up. I mean, I know I haven't missed too many days, but I have a bit of a cold, quote unquote. But nonetheless, I'm here with the final installment of Tanjiro Gets Turned into a Vampire. So if y'all enjoy, make sure to leave a like, sub, all that good stuff. Tomorrow, I don't know what video is coming out tomorrow, I'm not gonna lie. Maybe a compilation of this. I just need time to recover and get better. It's because my voice is a little messed up. But nonetheless, I hope y'all enjoy, and let's just get right into the what if. Let's get it. With Tanjiro and Nezuko's heads currently cut off, the two demon slayers that are standing in front of them believe that the fight is over, that they're going to fade away and perish. But unfortunately, that's not the case. They then throw each other's heads back at each other as they reattach almost instantaneously. Tanjiro stands, and so does Nezuko. They stare at both Kanao and Giyu Tomioka in a final stand. Tanjiro remarks that this fight didn't have to happen, that frankly he has nothing against the demon slayers. He wants to actually be rid of the demons and live a peaceful life with his sister and various other people, but nonetheless, he'll do what must be done. Protecting his sister is one of the main goals he's been approaching, and if this involves them dying, both Giyu and Kanao, then so be it. So Tanjiro and also Nezuko begin their fight with the two demon slayers. But let's just say they're completely shocked that they're not dead. They got their necks sliced off, but they are no normal demons. They have evolved. They're half vampire, half demon itself, and Tanjiro and Nezuko begin to put the hands on them as if they were not skilled by any means, forcing them to basically pull out any stunts they can possible, trying to close the distance with various forms. Kanao even uses her vermilion eye, trying to just keep up. But at the end of the day, Tanjiro and Nezuko seem to be too much, as if them two alone and their coordination overwhelms them. But just as they think that they have the upper hand,
Shinobu shows up once more, another Hashira itself to fight these two, stabbing into Tanjiro, but Tanjiro grabs her sword and breaks it in half. That's a pretty flimsy sword. It has poison on it though, I can feel it running through my veins. Frankly, it's unfortunate, but it was a good try. Tanjiro grabs her and slams her into a tree, and Shinobu is unable to move. I heard you're one of the fastest, Hashira. Unfortunately, I'm going to be stopping that. Tanjiro breaks both of her legs and leaves her on the ground. Giyu tries to take the advantage, but goes for his head, trying to slice it off. That's not gonna work. Even you just saw it. My assumption is that the sunlight's gonna be the only thing that kills me. That's if I haven't conquered it already. Tanjiro punches him in the stomach and then claws at his chest, ripping part of his skin off. Kanao struggling with Nezuko as well. Nezuko begins to bleed on the sword that Kanao is chopping her with, and the more blood that goes on Kanao's sword, the more explosions that will occur, using her blood demon art to explode the blood, blowing up Kanao, at least part of her face, and injuring her greatly. Nezuko dives in and grabs her by the neck and begins to crush as she begins to grow slowly. It seems that she's getting bigger and stronger. It seems that Nezuko has entered a new form and proceeds to kill Kanao. Being half vampire, half demon, they are using extremities that they've never seen before, powers that they've never seen before. Giyu begins to panic, trying to keep up, and he begins to get flashbacks of his friend Sabito and the death that became over him. But nonetheless, Giyu tries to close that distance and fight, but this fight is over. The two Hashira and the Hashira basically in training, Kanao being an extremely strong demon slayer, one of the top ones at this moment in terms of skill, are defeated, killed, or at least killed at the moment. Giyu, Shinobu, and also Kanao lay lifeless on the ground. But Tanjiro feels that there is no use making them, well, just dead corpses. Bringing them back, turning them into zombies. Zombies that will bend to every will of himself, stronger than any demon slayer, but with the tactician of what they had in the beginning. Shinobu having her fight style, Giyu having his, and also Kanao as well. They're extreme tacticians, and they will definitely be extremely beneficial in Tanjiro's little expedition. Nonetheless, they escape. They leave with the two Hashira and basically Kanao. And when they leave, they head back to their little humble abode as the sun begins to rise up once again. Crows of the demon slayers begin to fly around, saying that both Giyu Tomioka, Shinobu, two Hashira were killed, and so was Kanao. All the demon slayers, all of the Hashira are shocked. At the mansion, they're contemplating what's even going to happen. Two Hashira dead just like that? That must be a mistake. How is this going to happen? What's going to happen to us now? Nonetheless, what they don't know is that demons will soon approach. Demons want to capitalize on the fall of two Hashira and a lot of demon slayers at that fact. So that's exactly what they're going to do. Muzan is putting something into motion faster than normal. He begins to swing all of his higher moons and various other demons into that motion, ready to set up exactly what they want. And that's an invasion on the Swordsmith village, trying to take over various pieces of this world as soon as possible, drawing out the other demon slayers. But at the end of the day, Tanjiro is not the enemy of them, at least not necessarily. He wants his family to be safe, and this is what needed to be done. Tanjiro then makes his move. His next stop is to kill Muzan. He wants the king of the demons dead immediately, and then he'll go on with his plans. Tanjiro proceeds to hunt, looking for him using the other three demon slayers as well, eventually coming across a giant village. It seems like there is a fight raging on within that said village between a ton of Hashira and an abundance of demons as well. He begins to sense and smell somebody, and he actually smells Lady Tamayo. It seems that she is here for some action, that she is here to take down Muzan as well. but it doesn't seem that she'll be able to do it alone. Tanjiro enters and begins to see all the demon slayers fighting various demons, at that high-ranking demons as well. So Tanjiro begins to walk through and begins to just pile drive anybody in his way. Any demon slayers that would try to fight him would get killed immediately. Any low-grade demons would be murdered as well, using the other demon slayers they have there. Some of the other Hashira that are there, Mitsuri and various others, begin to see these 3 demon slayers running around slicing through people and slicing through demons. They question if that's really them, but that's not the case. They're told relatively quickly that those are zombie versions of those people, and that man right there by the name of Tanjiro Kamado has taken their minds over. They begin to question why he's here, and they think that he's working with Muzan. A couple of the Hashira and some of the demon slayers by the name of Zenitsu and Inosuke go to make their move to fight him, but just as they do, he blocks all of their attacks, including the Hashira that he has under control, block them as well. Not here to fight you. You all have potential. I should kill you and just make you under my control, but I'm gonna give you one chance. I need one person, and that's Muzan. So stay out of my way. Now. Tanjiro continues to walk, continues to try and find Muzan until he can smell Lady Tamayo's scents even more, as if she's using her blood demon art. He heads over to see that Muzan is there. Lady Tamayo is trying to take it upon herself to maybe cure Muzan to the point that maybe they can kill him, but Tanjiro walks up behind her before Muzan can even notice and punches Muzan square in the jaw, sending him flying. Hey, don't worry about this. I have this handled now. Nezuko, you ready? Nezuko nods as they dash toward Muzan, and let's just say they're outpacing him by a lot. Muzan has to enter one of his final forms to basically keep up at all. Nezuko and Tanjiro are outpacing him by a lot. There is no chance that Muzan can really keep up without the support of other demons, and that's exactly what's shown. Other demons begin to come, but luckily he has the 2 Hashira with him and someone else, and Kanao as well, and Lady Tamayo on top of that, who is currently even stronger because she is a part vampire. And obviously Yusuro is part vampire as well now, after Lady Tamayo turned him into one. The time begins to pass more and more. It seems that the sun will soon come out, and Muzan says that they are both seemingly ready to suicide. Are they really willing to do that, or are they going to fight another day? But Tanjiro smiles. There's a reason why you killed my family, right? Infected my sister to become a demon? You're looking for someone to conquer the sun, correct? Muzan is at a loss for words. What are you saying, kid? I'm saying, who else would conquer the sun other than me and my sister? So let's gamble. Since you haven't conquered the sun yet, and I haven't, well, I haven't tried, let's see who conquers it first. Tanjiro begins to beat on Muzan, trying to keep him still, making sure that when that sun rises, that he's there with him. Tanjiro and Nezuko make sure that's the case, and he tells Lady Tamayo to get out of here. He also tells his zombie friends, because obviously they'll burn up as well. He continues to beat on him, and the other demon slayers begin to slice toward Muzan as well. They question if Tanjiro's still on their side, but Tanjiro obviously letting them fight as well, being that it's pretty apparent that he's on their side. They're kind of sickened by the fact that they're even helping and working with him, but at the end of the day, do they even have a choice? So Tanjiro keeps Muzan out in the open until finally the sun begins to rise. The sun begins to rise, and Muzan begins to bask in it and begins to burn up. Tanjiro and Nezuko begin to burn up as well, but they do not stop fighting. But just as Muzan is about to be obliterated into nothing, and Tanjiro can see his hands fading slowly but surely, his body stops. Nezuko's does as well, and they watch as Muzan begins to incinerate. Tanjiro makes sure that he cannot move for that one last bit of sun rays, and as the sun rays beams upon Muzan, his body obliterates into nothingness, and the fall of the Demon King is upon them. He watches as he burns away, and Tanjiro stares at the sunlight. Just as I thought. Immune to the sun. Immune to my head getting chopped off. I guess Muzan was right. My family was special. Sad that my family would have to die because of it. Sucks I won't see them in the afterlife either. But I feel like you'd understand, right, Nezuko? You understand why we had to do this. Nonetheless, I don't even know if we can die. So maybe we'll never see them again. But at least we have each other. Just as Tanjiro nods and says this, the other Demon Slayers don't know what to do. They're not dying. They're in the sun. Oh, are they going to kill us? Tanjiro then immediately drops the bodies of the former Demon Slayers. Both Shinobu, obviously Giyu, and also Kanao. They drop dead and they vaporize as well. Don't worry. Your friends can now be in heaven, be in the afterlife. You don't need to worry about them. I'm sorry I put them in limbo. Unfortunately, that fight had to happen. Of course it did. But I won't be bothering any of you anymore. Don't need to worry. You might as well retire, live a life, enjoy it. It's probably for the best. Do exactly what you and your families wanted to do in the first place before demons. Anything else? Anybody else around? Any demons that even survived? I'll make sure they're dead. You don't need to worry about that. Okay. Tanjiro begins to leave with Nezuko, but they question, they yell at him. How could we trust you? How is it possible that we would even trust you? It's not like you have a choice. I have this choice right here. Trust me, I know how much stronger I am than you. I know how much better, more perfected I am than you, all of you. But look, I know what family means. I killed part of your family. Truly, I'm sorry. This power hasn't corrupted my mind entirely from what I believed way back then. But, I will do anything for my family. And if that meant killing Muzan, and if that means killing you, so be it. Just don't fight me. Trust me. It won't matter. I won't be killing humans either. Lady Tamayo has a whole little thing that she does. I guess I'll find that. I might slim out a bit though. That's gonna suck. Nonetheless, don't do anything dumb, okay? I'll be here, literally forever. So, I hope you don't do anything idiotic. But, as I said, if you run past a demon, I'm one call away. Or, I guess one crow, huh? Tanjiro and Nezuko practically disappear. They're gone in an instant. They can't even tell how fast they're moving. They're gone. As a vampire/demon, and as the bloodline of a sun breather, he conquered the sun, both him and Nezuko. And after conquering the sun, they practically both have become immortal. So what's next? What's next for them? Well, for them, they just want to live life. Live a happy one. Maybe find somebody. Live a life where they can have a family. Yes, maybe they'll see that family die in the near future. Yes, maybe they'll see, slowly but surely, everything fade to non-existence. But at the end of the day, it's better than being in hell and not seeing your family. That they'd rather be here and be with each other and be a family together and maybe even build their own other families on top of that. Nonetheless, this is where the story will end. Tanjiro may be a vampire, maybe a demon. Same thing with Nezuko. But to them, they're as close to human as ever. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like, sub, and comment down below. I know this was short, and I know some of you are going to say I skipped some arcs. I mean, let's be honest. Would those arcs even happen? Probably not. Especially after what occurred. I feel like that's the most reasonable thing that would have happened. At least personally. And at the end of the day, it's a fan fiction, so I kind of just do what I want. I'm not gonna lie to you. Nonetheless, I hope y'all enjoyed, and I hope all of y'all have an amazing day. Later.